welcome to the Improv Summit. Look at this logo. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me today, I've got Cameron. Cameron, how's it going today?
Hello, it is going quite well, thank you very much. How about yourself, Spencer?
I am doing very well, thank you. It's a great, lovely new year because we're recording this in 2021, which is weird to say. I've already written 2020 on things
Oh
so
my
far.
gosh, yeah, it's
So
the sequel.
I'll get used to it. Anyway, let's dive right in, shall we? Because we're here to
Dive
talk
right
about
in.
improv, not about my inability to write 2021 on pieces of paper. So let's start with the improv background. What is your experience with improv? What is your background in improv?
I am glad you asked. I actually am from Vancouver, Canada. And so my city, high school is 5 years. So it goes kindergarten to grade 7, then grade 8 to grade 12. So for my 5 years of high school, I was actually on the improv teams, most junior, then senior. We did competitions and stuff around the province. It was some years were better than others, but lots of fun. And now, even now, I every time I go back to Vancouver, there's a local theater company called Granville Island Theater Sports, and every night of the week, I think except like 2 days, they have 3 improv shows, professional improv, and it's just the funniest thing. I go back, make sure I go every time I go back, theater wise, and then improv is obviously playing in jazz and stuff, but that's a different side of the improv spectrum, I think.
No, we can talk. We'll talk about that
Oh,
too.
hey.
We'll talk about some improv and music. But so you've done a lot of competition with like regular old improv, short form, long form, like
Yeah,
good old
exactly. Like
comedy
there's like
improv.
vignettes, seen 3 ways, long story. Yeah. All that jazz.
Yeah, great. All that jazz.
Yeah.
There, I got it. Yeah, there we go. Bringing it back to the jazz.
Full
Anyway,
circle.
that's I think the phrase. Bringing it back to the jazz. I think that's that's the common phrase we say here in
That's
America.
the
Just
normal, yeah.
kidding.
That's us.
Just kidding. Not at all. That's not a phrase. It is now because I've created that. Here
2021, your
here
first
at the
copyright.
Improv Summit. I can't
You
figure
heard
out
it
how to
here
point.
first,
There we go.
folks.
I'm trying to point, but I realized my finger, I couldn't figure out how to do it on this side. Anyway, that being said, on a completely unrelated note, what drew you to improv specifically? I know that maybe you had to do it in school, but what drew you to improv, and why did you keep doing improv?
I was first. Great question.
Thank
I
you.
think I'm an incredibly curious person, and I'm incredibly drawn to the what if possibilities of the world. I'm just like seeing them everywhere for everything. And just from a very young age, being like super hyperactive, like that was honestly like my way of like as an outlet in a way that was like, this was supporting this creativity instead of like, Cameron, please shut up. And then changing your seat around the classroom, being like, nope,
Hmm.
I'm just gonna talk to everyone. So this was it was honestly like my outlet, just growing up and having that freedom to not just be creative, but like think critically about the creativity and organize the creativity. It was, oh my gosh, I've used it for basically everything I do. The skills it taught me, and fully support improv.
Great, I love that. I'm going to jump around a little bit because you touched on something that I wanted to get to, which is
Yeah.
what elements of improv do you use outside of like improv and comedy? What kind of skills did you gain from improv that you use in your regular everyday life?
Oh, for sure. They're like, oh, you have a problem. Considering what resources do you actually have to solve this problem? Instead of like being like, oh, I need to go out of my way to buy this thing, to do this thing, and then I can fix it. It's like, no, what do we have around here that could work? And then musically, that is totally what I do. It's like, you don't need to keep adding ideas. You've got like 3 good ideas, just like break them apart, use them in different ways. Like, boom, like that's what all the like classic composers and everyone does, jazz, like everything. It's all about like taking a very little bit and turning into this. So just seeing that kind of like really emphasized in improvised theater, it's just the world of possibilities just becomes so much bigger for anything you do.
Mm,
So it's a great problem solving technique.
yeah, sure. So I already said we're going to talk about this later, but we kind of
Mm.
touched on it already. So I'm going to jump into it now and then work my way backwards because that's what I do here. I improvise my order in which I ask questions.
Heyo,
Oh, yay!
that's how we
Um,
does.
So, there is something that a lot of people do, which is musical improv, which is
Music
where
improv.
for those that don't know, it's like improv, but there's an accompanist, and you get a suggestion of a musical that's never been done before or whatever,
Mm,
and the composer, the accompanist, who is essentially composing on the spot, is literally making up the songs based on the suggestion, based on the energy of the performers, and you create a musical, or you create musical scenes, or whatever the case is. So there's a different skill set that's involved with musical improv as there is with regular improv. And
mm,
even though we're talking about this as more of like a musical improv and comedy, as you're a musician, as I also have a degree in music, I wouldn't necessarily call
mm.
myself a musician, but I guess technically I am because of the degree.
It's a state
Woohoo!
of mind. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's talk a little bit about how improv is used in the general sense of musicianship or in music. Like we talked about, like jazz. There's a lot of improv in jazz, which
Yes.
I learned once from someone. Oh, I'm gonna figure out her name. Hold on. I'll figure it out. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
Lily. Her
Okay.
name is or Lily's Hands was the name of the song. Oh my gosh, what's her name? I'll add her in the chat to promote her. But I remember we did a workshop when I was in an a cappella group in college,
Mm,
and we were doing notes, and the music director was like, "Oh, we got to fix the these close
harmonies.
clusters and all this stuff,
Mm,
and yada yada blah blah blah." And her response was, "Those aren't wrong notes, they're blues notes." And we were like, she goes, "Basically every note that comes out of your mouth was intended." And so it was a very interesting concept of saying that, like a blues note, so it almost felt like it was an improvised note even
mm,
though it wasn't intended.
yeah.
So what do you think, as far as, like, jazz? There's like jazz improvisation, and there's improvisation within music. What are some of the improv, woo, that's a hard word to
Mm.
say for whatever reason, the improvised techniques that you use when you're composing or arranging music or playing music? What are some of those improvisational techniques you use?
Well, one thing I think we can both probably agree on about improv is it takes so much practice for you to have any sort of intuition about what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, how to improvise. Like going back to what you mentioned about the musical improv, when they're improvising it all there, they still have rehearsed forms, and they've rehearsed, oh, what is a chorus, what is a verse, like how to come in, when to duet. They all that stuff is practiced. So on the spot, it looks like it's totally random, but honestly, it's much more formulaic and conversational than I think you would call random. So that is one missing thing about music, and definitely with improv. So essentially, what they actually say is that composing is just improvisation slowed down. So anything creative, so jazz is improvisation sped up, composing is
Oh yeah.
yeah. So it's anything creative is always going to have an element of improvising with it. And as the longer you can delay your critical ear for what is good, what is bad, assigning a value to the improvisation, the more comfortable you're going to be improvising. So if it's like, oh, it has to be this certain thing, and that's the only way that you can accept it being correct, you're not going to write very much music. And if you're not writing a lot of music, you're not going to be getting any better, and you're not going to create anything anyone wants to listen to. So I think I would even go as far as to say for any creative
It's
form of
hard. Words are
expression,
hard.
you have to embrace improvisation. I'm sure any chef, any sort of new recipe or cuisine, like it didn't come from nowhere. Like someone's like, hey, this is good from this country. What if we added our own little twist to it? Boom, you got a new dish.
Mm-hmm.
So languages, accents, go all over Britain. Like there's some, you got to adapt, so it's I'm sorry, it's a big a much broader thing than you asked, but going back to
That's okay.
music, improvisation is the backbone of any sort of form of musical expression. Even like, I'm gonna keep going on this. Written music, like using notation, is a very modern thing, and even it's a very Western thing. Like most cultures have not used written music notation.
Mm-hmm.
So like African music is very much based off improvisation. And a lot of like when I was living in Taiwan, a lot of their folk music is very much created off improvisation. And it does actually evolve and change, contrary to what people would think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the whole concept of, oh, it has to be written down, you have to do what's written. Like that's a very not that's a very niche way of approaching music, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, because I know that I'm working on my 4th musical now, and the past 3 musicals that I worked on, I'm not a composer. Like I can't like play the piano, which I wish I could. I took lessons in college. I started lessons in elementary school, and then I stopped practicing. So my mom was like, "No more for you." But what I've noticed is that there are some times where I write down something on the music, and someone who's a really good sight reader will read it exactly as it's written, and I'm like, "That's not what I meant." They're like, "That's what's written." I'm like, "I understand, but this is how I hear it."
Mhm.
And then I forget how I wanted it originally, so it just kind of morphs and changes, and I'm like, just figure out what works, because eventually it is almost like in that collaborative element of like, this is how I want it to go, but I also trust people performing it to take those liberties where it makes sense. Obviously, if it's a classical piece, I'm not asking you to do a run after every long note, but
Hey,
or like every sustained note, but if it's like a pop song and there's a part where, it goes from, 4 to 3 to 1, maybe you hold out the 4 a little bit longer than I had anticipated to the 3. I mean, like that kind of stuff. It's like, I trust people who know music to. I'm just doing this. This is not even solfege, but I'm thinking like, a fa to mi to a do. Whoa. When I did something, I like my hand, it looked like I was holding it looked like I was holding a boli yellow. Anyway, it's gone now. So I think that that's what's interesting about improv, especially in general, is you can use it to kind of do anything. And I've learned that when I take musical improv classes or improv, going into like, if as I'm writing my musical, I'm like, oh, I would love to do something like dun 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 dun, and then I'm like, let me say that into my phone, and then when I go to a composer, I can say, this is how I picture it. I picture it like with this time signature, this like quarter note equals 180. That's pretty fast, but whatever. Quarter note equals 260. Why not?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think it's 180.
And I want it in 9/4. Whatever. I can do whatever I want.
No rules.
But that's what's great about improv too, is there are rules, but the rules are to be broken. Again, in music, there are rules, but you can, like, cluster chords, I would say, is a rule that you break in terms of you wanting a specific certain set of notes in an octave that you're playing, but then you have these cluster notes, the cluster chords that aren't quite in that actual set of notes that actually sound great when you put it together. So you're breaking that mold. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but the point is,
no, that makes sense. I mean, actually, that's a different topic. The cluster notes, that's just what that is just moving up the harmonic series, which exists in nature. It's like 100 hertz, 200, 300, 400, 500, just like, and then all the notes just get closer together. So the whole thing of clusters is like, oh no, instead of using octaves or fifths, thirds, fourth, we're just gonna go to this part of the harmonic series, and that's why they sound good. They exist in nature.
It's true, and it's interesting because even with improv, you take you listen, you yes and. I think it works the same way when you're making music too. You're like, so if someone's playing, this is my piano, which looks like my typing, which I've learned I'm terrible with object work. But my piano playing, someone's playing a melodic line, and I'm supposed to harmonize off of it. The first thing I need to do is listen to what the line is, so I can figure out where to place my voice to harmonize, whether it's my voice or whatever instrument I'm playing. And then from there, it's like, okay, I hear what you're doing. Yes, I get what you're saying. And let me add to it. So then we're now harmonizing, and you can keep adding and building that way. So it's taking that improv skill of listening and then yes anding and creating an improvised piece, whether or not it's with dialogue or without dialogue, is improv. But I think that that's what's interesting about improv is we talked about it being able to transfer to really any area of expertise anywhere in the world. And I think because music is a creative aspect and there is musical improv, obviously it can be done because people have been doing it for years, and then it became a thing. So, musical improv relates a lot more to comedy and singing, but jazz improvisation, I know, is a class that people offer at colleges because it's something that happens a lot.
It does. I completely agree with everything you just said. Well said, Spencer.
Great, thank you. I guess we're done here. Everyone,
we had a good
time.
time.
I'm just kidding. So So I want to go back a little bit to regular old improv, without music. But sometimes there's music. But regular old improv. Do you have any like I don't know if you do like a lot more short form or long form or narrative or whatever you do, but do you have any favorite short form games that you've ever played, or any like warm ups that you like doing before you improvise?
Ooh, I would say my favorite improv game. I mean, a lot of the games growing up with, like, Whose Line Is It Anyway? A lot of those games were very influential when I was in school. Oh my gosh, dated myself. My favorite game,
We're the
I
same
think,
age.
Shut up. True.
I mean, you're older than me by a hair, but
like, you're just a hair. The games that when I was going to school, my team always did really well on was we called it theme, but I'm sure there's a technical name for it, where it was like you'd have a suggestion and you just explore that theme. And sometimes you would be like, you would turn into a musical, and then someone would change the thing and you would go to something else. We were like, I love that, because your mind just buzzing, like, how can I reinterpret this situation and make it enjoyable to watch? So those are things I really enjoyed that. I think we mostly did short form improv growing in high school. Yeah, we did like some longer form, but nothing like when I've gone to see, like I said, at theater sports, when they do long form improv, they'll do like an hour and a half, like an hour long show or something. And so we never did that. Like 15 minutes, I think, was max we did.
Yeah. Like a montage, 15 minutes, and about what you get for 15 to 25 if it's like a split show. Anyway, that's a whole bunch of logistics we don't have time for right now. I mean, what else are we doing? But anyway, that being said, I keep saying that being said, I have a whole completely unrelated question.
Yeah, see?
Are there any, when you were doing improv, when you were like right in the midst of it, I guess that's what I would say, right in the midst of improv,
the thick of the improv.
Did you?
When you were
thick,
improv.
I think that when you're improv, yeah, there you go. Okay, boy. All right. Well, dad joke.
We had a good day.
All right, I'm done here. Goodbye, everybody. Cameron's now the host of this show because dad puns are 100% the name of this game. Don't drop that mic. Okay, be very careful. It's a real mic. Don't just proverbially drop it. Like you drop a beat. You should drop a beat. I don't know why we don't just drop a beat. Like drop the beat instead of drop the mic. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you were in the thick of improv, that's what I think I was going for. When you were in the thick of improv, were there any favorite like moments in class or any favorite scenes that you remember doing that you're like, oh, this was so much fun? Whether it was a great scene or a bad scene, it doesn't.
Oh my gosh, yes, I do.
Like a failure of a scene or a good scene.
Oh my gosh, to this day, I still think it was so funny. We're doing the game was like a dating game, basically. You got 3 contestants, and they all have different personalities and characteristics, and you have to choose, who you'd want to date, basically. And I just remember a fellow teammate, she was just like, oh, because you would call it a different name every time you did it. So just one time, she's like, hello, welcome to our show, BFF forever, best friends forever. Just like,
yeah,
okay. She'd never done that before, and it was just hilarious.
That's funny.
Anyways,
that's the one where
we had to stop the scene because I was like, I just lost it.
Oh, you should see me when I do these, but also when I do real improv, I just start laughing and I try to hide it. So I like I'll say something and then someone will say something and I'll do this. Like, and it's like very obvious that I'm trying to hide it. And then sometimes I'll put my hands on my knees and like bend down because I'm like, it's like this kind of a thing.
Oh boy.
And then it's like hard sometimes for me to like get back. I'm like, you know what? This is just, and then the scene becomes like, you laugh too much. And it's like, that's like my thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ride with this gift because I think there was one time, and I don't remember what it was, but there was one time where I got on stage and the person said something that I thought was just so funny. The whole scene was just me laughing. I couldn't stop laughing the whole time. And then I eventually got tagged out. And then the person started crying the whole time or whatever right after. But anyway, so yeah,
that's great.
Those moments like that, I love those little like tiny moments where you're like, really? This is what got
improv,
me,
right? It's not like it's just so raw, edgy improv.
Yeah, edgy, so edgy.
don't be like, edgy college improv. Love what you're doing. Like, anyways, I
Yeah.
digress.
Don't go super blue, but maybe like a
Yeah.
light blue. Like a light blue is
I
fine.
like blue.
Anyway, that being said, to you, what this is like a loaded question too, so feel free to like give me like bits and pieces.
I'm gonna give you a
What
loaded
to
answer.
you
So here you go.
Great, perfect. What to you makes a successful improviser? What is that, whatever that means to you?
Oh, honestly, end of the day, show up to rehearsal on time. Like I'm like that honestly made such a difference. Like when you just know you can rely on people to just show up to rehearsal, you're gonna trust them so much more in the scenes. I know this is gonna sound like, oh, be like, no. Like end of the day, it's like this is a reliable person. I feel like I can be vulnerable with them on stage because they're like it's all connected. Like to be an improviser, you have to know yourself. You have to know different feelings. You're gonna show a very vulnerable part to a lot of people, and you're like you don't really know always where it's gonna go. Like it might just get to that level, and like you might have to, So it requires a lot of trust to be an improviser, a successful improviser. So if you're someone in your team is just not taking it very seriously, they're not wanting to commit or make themselves vulnerable, it just changes the dynamic so much. And I think that's just the first step. Just show up on time and be prepared.
I love that. It's just regular practical things that you can do.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like most of me being a musician is just bringing a pencil. Shut up, and bring a pencil. That's what being a musician is. Congratulations, you're now a musician, Spencer.
Great. I mean, well, I didn't bring a pencil.
Oh, I take it back. Revoked.
I also didn't shut
revoked.
up. I also talk too much. So I mean,
that.
I guess I'm not even close to a musician. No, but anyway, that being said, so we have like what makes a successful improviser, but throwing in a little bit of a curveball with my baseball bat way on top of my face. It's way too high, but I was trying to get it in the frame. I told you I'm not great with object work, but it's like
one of those Nintendo Wii.
But like it looks cool, like with the background. You can like really see like my object work at try. Like it's really it's not at bat, it's at try because I'm trying to get it in the. But now I'm feeling like I got to figure out how to be like a baseball player. I got my cap.
I'm convinced. I'm like, where'd Spencer go? Where's this? Who's this? You just Clark Kenting me.
Like that.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, that way, yeah.
What was the movie? The Sandlot?
Yeah, Sandlot.
Chewing tobacco?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of baseball movies, some of which are great, and then there's also some other ones.
That movie freaked me out as a kid. I was so scared of that dog.
I never saw it as a kid. I didn't see it till like a couple of years ago.
Oh, I'm sure it's much less scary now, but I just remember being terrified of that dog.
Much less scary.
Yeah.
On that note of being much less scared, it's completely unrelated. When we're talking about what makes a successful improviser, let's talk about what do you feel makes successful music improvisation? Not necessarily a musical improviser, but if you're improvising in music, what makes it successful? Like what makes a success when it comes to musical improvisation? Whether it's voice, piano, saxophone, ocarina, whatever.
The ocarina.
Boom whackers.
Some like like Little John or Little Wayne, like
kazoos, kalimbas. Yeah. Yeah, anything.
Yeah. To be a successful improviser, it is so easy to get in your own head and just really be like, oh, I want to play this idea, and just be completely oblivious to what's going on around you. But a really good improviser is so present in what is happening around them. And honestly, it's not even about playing, it's about playing what is needed to be played. So what at this time needs to happen. And it's gonna be every time you do a piece, it's gonna be different. But it's like having a conversation. What are other people doing? How is the bass player playing today? How is the drummer going to interact with, like, what is going on? And then like, oh, the piano player, they're just playing a lot more gently today. Like, I'm going to maybe be a bit busier, or there's a lot going on. I'm going to just hold some notes. I'm going to keep it subtle, and having not just, so communicating and also having something to say. It's all a communication. They actually did it them, Fred probably. Yeah. The science music brain people did like one of those brain cap had jazz musicians playing together, reading the brain. And the part that was activating is when they're improvising was the communication center. The language center is what was busy, not like music per se. So it really is communication. So like, what are you trying to say? How are you going to express it? What are other people saying? How are you going to respond? So be human, I guess. Know how to communicate with other humans. That helps.
I love that.
A lot.
Of course, always throwing in the technical term of brain cap thing is always helpful. So everyone should go look up brain cap thing, because that's very important to know.
2021.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You gotta apply for the patent first, just like all good improvised ideas, and also all other improvised ideas. You know, the light bulbs go off, but they also break as well.
And they
yeah.
Well said.
So on this note, with like, let's say people are like, I really am interested in like the improvisation stylings of musicians. What are some like improvised stylings of musicians? Whether it's a specific improv.
Oh no,
they
like totally are. They're totally are.
But
different.
What are some that you would recommend? Whether it's artists or actual albums or anything like that. What would you anything that like kind of? I know this is like a last minute.
No, it's a great question. One I really, it's almost like a hack in a way, but there's the one specific improviser who I think is it's not just an obscure, like, oh, his notes are so cerebral you can't even figure it out. Like Bill Evans is, I mean, obviously he's a genius player. His playing is so sophisticated, but one of his things that he would do when he improvised was that he would choose within the solo, he would choose like certain notes. He would have like one or two notes that he would keep coming back to. So he would, and even was it Bernstein, Leonard Bernstein would talk about composing, he's like call and response. And Bernstein was actually really big in improvising too. He wrote a lot, like his music is so jazzy. But back to Bill Evans, so you listen to his music, you wouldn't know he's doing it. Like it sounds so smart, and it sounds like there's motion, it's going somewhere. You feel like there's themes happening. But like it's very like he's choosing, obviously he's a genius, he's gonna do around, but like oh, these are the two notes I'm gonna be improvising around. So obviously knowing the scales made a big difference, because you can know like what roles do they serve, but ultimately he tried to keep it really simple. And like I said, he's totally a player where he plays what's needed to be played. And so you could definitely hear that in his improvisation. So Bill Evans, probably maybe short for William, like even nods. I don't know. That was terrible.
I mean, Bill at least Evans. Probably short for William, most likely.
Probably short for William.
Which is interesting. It's another interesting conversation for another day. But as to why a lot of Williams go by Bill as opposed to Will,
or Billiams.
Yeah, maybe billions, because that's how much money he might have made off of his albums.
Like, for $1 billion. Did you say $1 billion?
I did.
Doll hairs.
Yeah, doll hairs. 1 billion doll hairs. I'm Billiam Doll Hairs. Do you need me? I'm Billiam Doll Hairs. I feel like this is an improv scene already now at this point. Anyway,
I'm gonna save something for later.
Yeah, save something for a little bit. Oh, I just hit my elbow on something. It's all good. Anyway, that being said, do you have any like plugs or pitches? Anything that you want to like throw out there?
Ooh, I believe I do. Well, as some of you may or may not know, I am actually the audio engineer for the Spencer's podcast, Theoretical Thrills, and I highly recommend you check them out. They are fantastic. There's fantastic podcasts.
You'll see it in the YouTube link because I put it in there every week.
They deserve all your love. Otherwise, my own content. Gosh, you can. I don't know. I do a lot of things. I'm sorry. This is a terrible.
Yeah,
plug.
Go for it. Take a 5-minute, whatever.
Well,
do whatever you
5 minute. Wow. Well, I'm
hit yourself. This is your time.
Studying music production, so I do lots of work with songwriting, arranging, composing, mixing, editing, teaching. I mean, once you do so many things, right? It sounds like you're not credible, right? That's
so you're multi-hyphenate. That's what they call them now.
Multi-hyphenate. Yeah, I'm the full pack. I'm the 100%er.
There you go.
That's what they call you, the 100%er. So that's me. You can email me at camerongolinsky@gmail.com. I had a website one, but then half of it was in Mandarin. And when I moved, I was like, I'm probably not going to update this every time I change something in both languages. So I kind of let the URL die. So I will probably get on that soon. But in the meantime, camerongolinsky at gmail.com for all your audio needs.
It's on his little Zoom box, but I'll also link it down in the comments. But I'm going to put it with an @ in parentheses as opposed to the @ symbol, so bots can't track it.
Thanks, bots.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say you're welcome, but I'm not the bot.
Oh, what?
I have to listen. Number one rule of improv: I got to listen. I got to listen first before I assume.
That was a test. You passed.
I tried. Almost didn't make it. Anyway, so I have one final question for you.
One final answer.
And this is like the big question that I always ask everyone, and this is the reason why I did the Improv Summit. Oh, that's a better point. There we go. Oh, see, look, it's like weird. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting when I move. Sometimes you can kind of see the yellow on the shirt. Oh, you can't see it now, but sometimes you see the yellow on the shirt.
Your hair gets some accents occasionally.
Anyway, I'll put some dots in. No, I won't. That's a lie. I'm not going to do anything. So this is the reason why I'm doing this Improv Summit. I'll do it this way, but anyways, and it's I always got a lot of people who are always like, Spencer, you do a lot of improv. Where should I take improv? And it always felt like a loaded question to me because I don't know what people's goals are in improv. I don't know like what people want to get out of improv. So if someone came up to you and said, hey, Cameron, where should I take improv? What is like a piece of advice or a tip that you'd give someone to kind of guide them in the right direction?
Ooh, where should you take improv? Somewhere where you are going to feel totally comfortable looking like an idiot. Like when you start improv, you're going to be bad at it. You're going to be like, I'm a funny person. I'm creative. Why am I so terrible at improv? That's the first thing you have to accept. You're going to be bad. But like, so being around people who are going to laugh with you being bad is so important. You're naturally going to get better. That's just the way it works. So yeah, finding a group of people like, hey, we all suck. That's great. Go to that one, whether it's community theater or community college or I don't know, Zoom or Spencer's things. Go to Spencer's things.
Yeah, come do the Improv Summit with me. You'll be a pro in no time.
Boom. Like all for 5 easy payments of a $99.99.
5 easy payments of watch every episode of this and share it with 5 friends. No cost to you other than your time.
Fun fact, the librarian at my high schools was his mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, he's Canadian. So
yeah. I mean, isn't Ryan also?
Yeah, actually, yeah, Ryan and like that improv comedy company I was talking about, Grand Valley Theater Sports, they both went through it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, Cameron, I lied. I said that was the last question I had for you, but I actually have one more question.
Okay.
And that question is, would you like to do some improv?
I would love to do some improv, Spencer. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. Let's do it. Location, relationship, or word?
So you're saying work or word?
Word.
I want to give let's try word. I'm curious what that is.
Word. And then do you want to initiate or do you want me to initiate?
You initiate.
Okay.
I think I'm taking notes. I'm analyzing the situation. How to improv. It's been a while.
I'll give you a couple words and you tell me which one you want to go with, and then I'll initiate based on that.
Okay.
Holy, maple syrup, or glasses?
Maple syrup.
Great. Maple syrup. All right. Of course you would.
Of course. I mean, come on, guys. Branding. Man cave.
Thank you, Man Cave.
Okay. Da-da, da-da, ching 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 ching, coast is clear. Activate entertainment system. Turn on foosball lights. Open minibar. Close doors. Yeah, it's fine. It's no big deal. It's just, somewhere I go on the weekends.
Dude, this place is incredible.
Incredible.
Like seriously incredible.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, like it was just like it was a couple of weekends, just when the wife was busy, just a little something for myself, no, small. I mean, hey, can I get you a cherry Coke?
Yeah. Thanks.
Ding.
Thanks. I don't know how you down those so quickly. The bubbles get all messed up in my nose. I can only do a little bit at a time.
Oh, I mean, like it's a yeah, it's a bit fizzy, but like in the man cave, in the man cave, the pressure is different, so the fizziness, it affects you at different parts of the room.
Yeah, I guess you're more of a man than me.
Is that a challenge? I could out unman you any day of the week.
Wait, I'm sorry. out unman or out man?
So you want to identifying my masculinity?
So you want to be
cathedral of modern man technology?
So you're trying to challenge me to be less manly than you.
Isn't that what you said?
No, I just said I think.
Sorry, I thought you were bragging. I thought you were trying to one up me with your lack of manliness. I felt.
No, I was just saying that I think you must be more of a man than me.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a challenge. It was just like a direct threat.
Could it be a challenge though? I mean, I need to exert my testosterone in some way. Could it be a challenge? A duel maybe? It's okay. Well, it's like, LeVar, want to play some foosball or Call of Duty?
I mean, foosball and Call of Duty, those are pretty manly activities.
Yeah, I've actually reconfigured the controller to be foosball sticks.
See? Yeah, you're more of a man. I would have never thought of that.
Well, let's give her a go.
Do you want to hand me a remote?
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
Oh, it's a foosball. Thanks. I'll put my coat.
So, how's your man cave coming along? Last we checked, you were thinking about installing that new robot Tamagotchi dance system.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, finances kind of got in the way, but I mean, I got to be honest. It probably won't be as good as yours. It won't be as manly as this. You have the manlier man cave.
Yes. I made sure that every single installment had some sort of phallic overtone to it. So I'm really glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no way you can.
Intruder alert! Intruder alert! We've been discovered. Okay, you know how I said this was just a casual weekend thing I would do while the wife was away?
Yeah.
But that was all a lie. Turns out I've been maybe siphoning the mortgage into this room, and my wife doesn't know about it. I think she just found us out. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out.
Well, who's the manlier one of the two of you or your wife?
Oh, definitely my wife. You should see her man cave. It's incredible.
Yeah, you definitely out unmanned me there. Yeah, that was fun.
I met her on a Tuesday and her name was Sue.
Do run, do run. Her favorite color yet it is blue. Do run.
Yeah, she only wore one shoe.
Yeah,
everything she said was true.
Yeah,
nothing that she couldn't do.
Do run, do run. Her favorite animal's a kangaroo. Do run.
But not the ghosts when they would say boo.
Do run. Yeah, but she got sick with the flu. Yeah, from her chimney flew. Yeah, and then she saw a bird. It flew. Do run.
So one day that was pretty good. I'm sorry, that caught me up. I was like, that was pretty
yeah. See, and this is where the homophones come in. Is I was like, technically flu, F-L-U, influenza. Flew, the chimney flew, F-L-U-E, and the bird flew, F-L-E-W. Technically, I was like, all I need is one word, and let me just piece it together. Well, gee, Charlie, if it isn't the best day for pancakes, if I do say so myself.
Oh, hey, how's it going there, Earl? Yeah, just over there at the local Ukrainian Catholic Church. They got a pancake breakfast this Sunday.
Oh yeah,
can't wait to go check it out.
Oh, me too. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, of course.
Sorry, what did you say? Say that word again.
Which word?
About.
Of course. Of course.
Oh, you're saying the word about like some sort of Yankee.
Oh, you mean a boot?
Of course, I mean a boot.
Oh,
so shall we? I heard the Ukrainian Catholic Church got a few, got 3 new varieties of maple syrup.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to the church to get the maple syrup on the pancakes, and of course,
I want to try. Got that breakfast.
Yeah, I want to try the new pancakes. The what do they call them? There's the chocolate chip, there's the regular buttermilk, and there's the
oh, you mean the mud chocolate mousse?
Yeah, the mud chocolate frappuccino.
Yeah, 360 melon grab pancake.
Yeah, it's like a kitchen sink of sorts.
Yeah, a little smorgasbord of pancakes.
Yeah, I think we should go get some.
Yeah, I like what you're talking about. We should go check it out.
Cut to the pancake shop. Or the church, pancake church.
Oh, Nelly, look at the size of this. Look at her. She's got a giver, eh?
Yeah, it's very large.
So I don't. That Baba over there is giving us the stink eye.
Oh, he must be from Newfoundland.
From Newfoundland. Ugh. What are we? Are we supposed to eat this all by ourselves?
I think so. It's all you can eat too.
What happens if you can't finish?
I think they let you take it home here.
But we all live in the same house. It'll be really obvious. The igloo, I don't know how many pancakes we can all have if we all bring one home.
Did you say pancake igloo?
What do you make igloos out of?
I mean,
pancakes,
usually,
of course, locally sourced, freshly homegrown, fresh squeezed pancakes.
I don't usually make igloos, but I thought that was a great idea. That's why I was asking about it.
Yeah,
I was asking about it.
Yeah, the igloo, it's gonna be full up of pancakes. We can't get the batter over there. We're gonna.
I see, because you piece it together with the old maple syrup.
Yeah, it's basically some sort of kind of cohesive of nature.
You know what I hear? You know what I hear about syrup? I hear in the South they call it syrup.
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 For a boy pancake?
No, it's just exactly what it is in the South. They call it maple syrup.
That can't be right. That's impossible.
Well, it's exactly what it is. Let me tell you.
Oh, no, you really done learn me a thing there about that syrup. Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Of course, it's
great song, best yet.
Oh, thanks. It's one of my instrumentals.
Well,
see,
that's it.
This one made no sense at all.
No sense at all. Okay, you know what? You choose the next one.
No, it was just funny. It was just funny. I was like, I don't know what we're. It was like I was focused so much on that Canadian accent.
I know. I was like, is that right? Is that how I say it?
But no, in the South we do say syrup. Thanks everybody so much for coming to the Improv Summit. That's Cameron. I'm Spencer. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.